All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to explore a pretty wild connection, one that builds a bridge between two worlds you would probably never think to put together: the world of deep spiritual philosophy and the super rigid, logical world of digital security. It's a trip, for sure, so let's get into it. So, look at this. On one side, you've got this beautiful Spanish phrase, principio ni fin, which means no beginning, no end. It's all about infinity, spirituality, cycles. And then, on the complete other side, you have the nuts and bolts of digital fraud prevention. We're talking cold, hard code that's all about creating trust online. I mean, they couldn't seem more opposite, right? And that's the big question, isn't it? What in the world is the hidden thread that ties some mystical idea to the actual architecture that keeps us safe online? And the answer? Well, it's pretty incredible and definitely not what you'd expect. So, to start cracking this thing open, we've got to go a little abstract first. Our journey kicks off with a spiritual concept, a whole philosophy of the infinite that revolves around one single powerful number. You see, Principio ni fin isn't just some nice sounding phrase. It's a whole way of looking at the world, where everything is connected in this huge, never ending cycle. It's about seeing life and spirit not as a straight line from A to B, but as this infinite loop of creation and completion. And right at the core of this whole idea is one key symbol, the number 9. In this way of thinking, 9 isn't just another digit. No, it's basically the code for all this stuff: infinity, completion. And it's crazy how much meaning gets packed into just this one number. 9 stands for the end of a journey, the big finish. It's about generosity, about service, and most importantly, it's about the completion of cycles, which brings us right back to that circle without end idea. Okay, now let's slam on the brakes and make a hard U-turn into a completely different universe. We're leaving the spiritual world behind for a second and diving headfirst into the super technical, the world of digital trust, which for our purposes, we're going to call Merkletown. So think of Merkletown as a metaphor for the internet's security backbone. This place isn't about philosophy. It's all about rules, verification, and absolute proof. It's the whole system of digital certificates that proves a website is what it claims to be. This world is built on things like Merkle trees, which is a really clever way of organizing tons of data so you can check if everything's legit with just one tiny, unique digital fingerprint. It is a world built on logic, plain and simple. And look, this isn't just some made-up concept. Merkletown is run by actual, real-world guardians. Companies like Google, DigiCert, and Sectigo. These are the authorities who hand out the digital passports for the internet, making sure it all works. It's a system that's all about being rigid and predictable. So, okay, we've got these two totally different worlds: infinite spiritual cycles on one side and finite digital rules on the other. How in the world do you build a bridge between them? Turns out the answer is a project called Oregio. Oreg.io is this project, and its goal is actually pretty simple, but also really deep: to find the universal patterns that create harmony and balance everywhere. It's like a search for nature's source code, for the perfection that's just built into everything around us. And this is where it all starts to make sense. The bridge between the spiritual and the digital isn't some fuzzy, feel-good idea or a metaphor. It's a real, concrete connection that you can actually prove. Because the crucial piece, the very keystone holding this whole structure together, it's math. That's right. The link is a tangible, verifiable mathematical pattern that was discovered through this project. A pattern that, get this, mirrors those exact same ideas of harmony and completion that we saw in the spiritual concept of the number 9. And here it is: Fibonacci Mod 9, 24 residues. Now, I know that sounds super complicated, so let's just break it down. You take the famous Fibonacci sequence, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and so on. Then you do a simple thing called modulo 9 to it, which is just a fancy way of saying you divide each number by 9 and see what's left over. When you do that, you get this amazing, perfectly repeating 24-number pattern. It's a perfect, self-contained cycle. And this just nails the whole idea. The people behind the project actually describe this discovery as a numerical manifestation of those universal patterns. It's the philosophy of Oregio made real, through numbers. They were looking for harmony, and they found it, right there in the math. Okay, so let's tie all these threads together now. We've gone from a big philosophical idea all the way to the guts of our digital world. How do all these pieces actually create one single, coherent picture? It really happened in a few key steps. First, there's the spiritual insight, this idea of completion and the number 9. That inspired a creative project, Origeo, to go looking for that same harmony. And that search led directly to a mathematical discovery, a perfect repeating pattern. And then, amazingly, you see an echo of that pattern in the technical world. I mean, think about it. Digital certificates create a closed loop of trust, a chain of verification from an authority down to a website. It's the exact same kind of idea, a finite, perfect cycle that creates order and trust. So what you get in the end is this totally unexpected link. A personal, spiritual idea about infinite circles finds a perfect echo in the finite, verifiable circles that keep our digital lives secure. It just goes to show you, these patterns from nature and math, they can pop up in the craziest places, even in the technology we build every day. And that really leaves you with a big question to chew on, doesn't it? If this connection exists, what other hidden harmonies are just waiting out there to be found? What other bridges are there, connecting our own inner worlds to the massive digital structures we keep building all around us?